Spiritual bypassing is defined as a tendency to use spiritual ideas and practices to sidestep or avoid facing unresolved emotional issues, psychological wounds, and unfinished developmental tasks. In other words, spiritual bypassing denies reality in order to feel good, suppress emotional triggers, and avoid painful truths in favor of comforting lies. Unfortunately, there are many within the spiritual community that abuse this self-defense mechanism, which stunts your spiritual growth and ascension process. As a result, you sabotage fulfilling your mission as a light worker, starseed, or wayshower. After all, someone who refuses to take personal responsibility for their inner demons, or who lives in denial about the darkness around them, which blocks healing or resolution within themselves and the outer world, is not spiritually ready to be a source of light and hope to those around him. In truth, the dark has purposely pushed and normalized spiritual bypassing among those who are awakening by inserting their own spiritual teachers into positions of power and influence within the spiritual community. The purpose of these false gurus is to spread misleading, false light teachings that encourage escapism from uncomfortable emotions, thoughts, and the 3D physical world as a valid spiritual practice. Please see my other video on the false light deception. You can find the link in the description. With that being said, I will now discuss the top 3 forms of spiritual bypassing that I see as the most prolific, toxic, and self-destructive. Number 1. Avoiding all negative emotions, which includes focusing only on the positive and ignoring the negative. With the increasing amount of chaos, confusion, deceit, and fear being pushed on the world population by the service to self-controllers, it's quite understandable that many want to protect and shelter themselves from these outside influences and the negative emotions and reactions they create. Although practicing self-care is important, ignoring these negative emotions and their triggers will only guarantee they remain in your energetic field as unintegrated aspects of your shadow self. Unfortunately, these repressed traumas will make it easier for the controllers to emotionally manipulate you and for darker energies or entities to attach themselves to you as a food source. A serious spiritual seeker must come to terms with the reality that although it's great to focus on the positive and to see the world as the glass half full, you cannot be a warrior of the true light when you reject the darker and uncomfortable aspects of yourself in the outside world. On some level, whether it's conscious or unconscious, this avoidance is done out of fear, which blocks your true natural spiritual ascension process, hinders your spiritual gifts, and creates confusion around your purpose on this 3D world. So instead, you need to stop numbing and distracting yourself with your phone, internet, television, shopping, and so on. Take the time to sit with your emotions and explore them deeply. Get to know yourself and understand what your triggers are trying to teach you and how you can accept and integrate all these unpleasant feelings and aspects of yourself. As you become better at this process, you become spiritually stronger and more resilient to outside forces and their control. With your spiritual foundation solidified, you will be able to carry out your true purpose in this world and help others during the darker times ahead. And you will be able to do so by facing both the light and the dark as they are without fear, suppression, or bypassing of any kind. Number 2, focusing solely on spirituality at the expense of your present third-dimensional physical reality. Although anyone can be guilty of this to some degree if not careful, this specific form of spiritual bypassing is common among individuals who desperately yearn to escape the dense physical third-dimensional world and that wish to transcend it, shift out of it, or ascend into 5D as soon as possible. As a result, they neglect, minimize, or look down on their physical body and the human experience as unimportant. Yes, the human experience isn't always easy, but part of the ascension process is achieving at least some level of physical embodiment of higher energies and consciousness. By doing so, you help anchor frequencies of wisdom from the higher realms into this lower reality. This not only accelerates your personal spiritual and physical ascension, which is what you want, but also has a powerful activating effect on those around you. There are also levels of higher consciousness, information, and energetic keys that are stored within the body, which many can only access through certain physical activations. This is crucial since some of this knowledge is unique for each individual's specific journey and purpose in this world. For this reason, you cannot spiritually bypass yourself into ascension, no matter how much spiritual knowledge you gain through books, workshops, or videos, if you shun your human experience and the physical body that carries with it a tremendous amount of innate power that is waiting to be unlocked. So what can we do to help achieve this level of physical embodiment? First, you start by healing your traumas and doing your inner work. Take care of your body as much as possible and learn to love it with all its flaws and imperfections. Start speaking to your physical form and ask it to share its wisdom with you. Work to embody higher spiritual truths within yourself right now. As you clear, heal, and integrate your shadow fragments, this embodiment will change and evolve over time. By doing this, your body will slowly start to reveal its secrets to you. Embrace the overall human experience and don't hide from the outside world. Don't forget to live and enjoy the present moment and the beauty this 3D world has to offer. Spirituality isn't supposed to be serious all the time, so don't forget to have some fun. Avoid merging your body with artificial intelligence and don't consume foods or take substances that alter your DNA, which is where a lot of your power is stored. This will sabotage your natural ascension process and sends you into an artificial ascension timeline that strips you of your direct connection to God's source. Lastly, those with real Kundalini activation will have an easier process with the physical embodiment and internal activations. However, you do not need to force Kundalini activation on yourself. Anyone can do this, you just need to believe that you can and start doing it. Number 3, believing no direct action against the dark is needed because love and light always wins. In many ways, this form of spiritual bypassing is a blend of the first two. The unwillingness to take any serious action against the service to self-controllers and their complete takeover agenda is based largely on underlying fear and the hope that someone else from this world or outside of it will intervene and save the world, or at the very least save those of us who are supposedly spiritually awake or of higher vibration. Another slant on this belief is that sending love and light or having blind compassion for the dark forces will be enough to stop their plans and save humanity. Of course, as we can see in today's world, none of this has worked and in fact has had the opposite effect. The false light has been successful in pacifying and neutralizing a large number of light workers, starseeds, and wayshowers to the point that any direct action against the dark is seen as feeding or empowering the dark forces, so it has to be avoided at all costs. As a result, the service to self agenda to further enslave humanity continues to grow in strength with very little opposition. Fortunately, things are starting to change and more people are waking up, speaking up, and taking some form of action as the spiritual war continues to intensify and reaches a critical point as the bifurcation of the two dominant timelines starts to solidify. However, the denial of evil by some and the unwillingness to do anything about it by many others has created a weakness within the New Age religious movement that allows it to be easily infiltrated. This is how false light teachings and thought implants were introduced and pushed onto newly awakening minds, which have helped hijack what could have been a serious threat to the dark, but instead turned it into a powerful movement that actually helps bring into reality the very thing the New Age movement claims to be standing against, the dark agenda. For this reason, critical thinking, true discernment, and developing your own divine connection with a God spark within you is key to avoid falling victim to these false light teachings and spiritual bypassing they encourage. The ability to self-reflect, self-correct, and heal your inner demons will allow you to carve out your own spiritual path with confidence. Ultimately, this is what guides you into taking the correct form of action that's right for you, and you will do so with a higher understanding, purpose, and without fear or excuses. Lastly, I know many of my videos are censored on several Facebook groups, but I want to thank everyone who still continues to share my videos across not only Facebook, but other social media as well. I truly appreciate the support and want to encourage you to please continue leaving your messages and comments and also sharing my content, as it provides a different perspective that I know many share but is rarely heard or seen. Also, I want to conclude this video by stating that I know it's basic human nature to ignore uncomfortable truths and to focus instead on comforting lies, especially if those lies give us an excuse to avoid facing the dark within ourselves. Fortunately, the time to move beyond this basic level of consciousness is here and waiting for you to choose the next step in your evolutionary journey. No amount of spiritual bypassing can help you ascend, and nobody is going to do the work for you. Ultimately, only you have the power to make the choices that will either hold you back spiritually or propel you into an accelerated ascension trajectory that leads to the physical and spiritual freedom that you seek, but also deserve. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and share. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell to get notified of future videos.